All right, let's dive into one of the most fascinating and kinda cryptic verses in the entire book of Revelation. It's just one sentence, this defiant statement from a queen. But wow, it unlocks a huge story about pride, rebellion, and judgment. Let's get right into it. So, we're going to jump straight into the deep end, right to the verse that really sets the stage for everything that follows. And there it is. She says it in her heart. I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. I mean, it's this incredible declaration of total power, total self-sufficiency. But there is so much more going on beneath the surface here, especially in that one little phrase. This is the big question, isn't it? Why deny that? Of all the things to boast about, saying I'm no widow just seems odd. But as we're about to see, that phrase is the absolute key to understanding who she is, what she's done, and why she's being judged. Okay, so to really get a handle on her claim, first we have to understand the rule of judgment that's tied directly to it. The verse itself lays it out pretty clearly. The logic here is really simple and honestly kind of chilling. It's a measure for measure thing. Her punishment is going to be a perfect mirror image of her sins. All the glory and luxury she took for herself, well, that's going to be paid back measure for measure with torment and sorrow. You can see that direct connection so clearly here. On the one hand, you've got her pride, glorifying herself, living in luxury. And the direct result of that, on the other hand, torment and sorrow. It's a perfect, inescapable balance. So, keeping that idea of judgment in mind, let's go back to what she said. All right, now we can really start peeling back the layers of her claim. This is where we get to the theological heart, the real meaning behind her denial. This right here, this is the most revealing, most damning part of her whole statement. This goes so much deeper than just her current status. And boom, there it is. That's the core of her rebellion. She's not just saying, oh, my husband didn't die. She's saying, what husband? I never had one. It's a complete erasure of her history, a total rejection of the covenant relationship she once had with God. So her denial is this huge act of rebellion, and it's got deep roots. You could call it a kind of spiritual amnesia. She's deliberately choosing to forget where she came from. It's a rejection of the covenant, just completely severing those ties. Of course, it's the ultimate self-glorification. She's putting herself on the throne instead of God. And really, at its heart, it's all about forgetting her first love, the one who chose her in the first place. And you know, this whole idea of a broken divine marriage, it's not some new concept that just pops up in Revelation. Centuries before, the prophet Hosea recorded God using the language of a divorce to describe what happens when Israel was unfaithful. It's a powerful, recurring theme. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. If you want to truly understand the depth of her pride, the original Greek language gives us some incredible clues. The specific words the author chose paint a way more vivid picture of what's going on in her head. So when the Bible says she lived luxuriously, the Greek word is astreniasen. Now, this isn't just about having a lot of money or fancy stuff. It implies this unrestrained, wanton, sensual indulgence. It's a moral excess, not just a material one. And get this, even her posture matters. When she says I sit, the Greek word, kathemai, doesn't just mean sitting down. It carries this idea of being enthroned, of holding a permanent, unshakable position of authority. She thinks her reign is forever. And finally, where does she say all this? In her heart, or kardia in Greek. Now, in Greek thought, the heart is the absolute center of your will, your thoughts, your deepest intentions. So this isn't some throwaway boast. This is a conviction coming from the very core of who she is. Now, here's what's so wild. This queen's declaration, it isn't new, not at all. It's an echo of almost the exact same words from centuries earlier in the Old Testament. It shows this long, tragic pattern of rebellion. Just listen to this from the prophet Isaiah talking about ancient Babylon. The language is, it's practically identical. I shall be a lady forever. I shall not sit as a widow. You see, Revelation is tapping into this ancient established pattern of human pride. The prophet Jeremiah uses this same powerful metaphor too. God describes Israel's unfaithfulness using the legal terms of divorce. It just reinforces that consistent theme. When you reject the covenant gets terminated. And this whole idea finds its most tragic expression in the words of Jesus himself. His heartache over Jerusalem is the ultimate picture of this. God offers love, protection, gathering his children, only to be met with that final, devastating rejection, and ye would not. Okay, so we've pulled together the context, the Greek words, the echoes from the prophets. So what's the bottom line? What's the final warning that this whole passage is trying to give us? So when you put it all together, it becomes crystal clear. The Queen's declaration is the ultimate act of spiritual adultery. It's a pride so deep that she has literally written God out of her own story, completely denying her relationship with him. And because of that, just a few verses earlier, the text gives this incredibly urgent command: come out of her, my people. It's a direct call to get away, to separate ourselves from this entire system of pride and self-worship, because if you stay, you share in her sins and in her judgment. And you know, this ancient warning, it speaks right into our world today. It makes us look around at our culture and even in our own hearts and ask a really tough question. What are the systems of pride we're a part of, maybe without even realizing it? And what does it really mean to reject them?